Hello, hello, beautiful people, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Synchronicities, aka the Cosmic Medicine Woman, jumping on. And for energy update, it's been a little minute, but I felt called to hop on this rising. Happy Easter to those who celebrate Resurrection Day, and just happy rising to those who don't. I'm not judging. I celebrate everyone. So, yeah. I really just want to speak to the energy that's, I would say, in the last week since this full moon in Libra we just had. And really even starting before that, right? And I just use the full moon and Easter, just this energy, right? For me, I tend to get my messages and kind of feel into the energy in different ways. This week, nature, which most weeks, since this walk that I've been on, nature is definitely one of my guides. And so, but nature has spoken to me quite consistently this week, with the same message. And so, whether I'm looking at our plant allies, our animal allies, the elements, this week, and even I had a pause in my day and grid a bit with crystals in particular areas. So that was half of my day yesterday. And it really brought this week's energy to a head, right? To a culminating point of like, okay, this is what the energy is. And I set the intention for this video that it speaks to, I've opened my channel, that it speaks to, I've called in my guides and really for guides whom this message is meant for. And so really if it, the message is one of speaking about death, right? Transformation, reclamation, resurrection really falls in line with the themes of Easter, but in spring and this new beginning, and we're on a journey, and going to the last message into this one, it's just the next place on the timeline to speak about. But death is what the theme was. So I just was guided to flip to the page on death and to reflect on some of those questions. And this week's symbolism of course, fell right in line. And so I felt called to share. It's been this message. So this message I give to you. And so just to preface this week and what I've been witnessing, it was more so the message of releasing, right? With the full moon, the scripting, and so with full moons, I like to use that energy to release as I'm looking at what's coming up, what I'm calling in. I'm also looking at, right? I look at these cycles as a cycle of life, right? To call something in energetically, and have the capacity to hold it, we must release, right? I know I must release some things. What is it that I need to release to call in these new things? And so that's typically my focus. And so as I set that intention, as I looked around in my 3D, I saw a lot of dead animals, right? Like a lot of dead animals. And of course there's roadkill. But this week it was an exceptional amount. Lots of vultures, more vultures that I've seen this week than I've seen in quite a while. So I knew that was significant. Lots of dead squirrels. And then I would see groups of, I don't know, are they called groups? Flocks? I don't know. A group of vultures. There was a group of them, like I've seen several groups of them eating on dead animals. And so I'm like, I knew exactly what that was. It's time, really. All of that leading up to pulling and reading on death, I knew that it was time to look at, and I say to you, right, I give this to you, that this time in the spring that I was speaking of in a previous video, might have been the previous one to this, or maybe the one before that, I'm not sure. Look through the videos, you'll know which one I'm referring to. But as we have entered into spring and the releasing, it's more of a call to look deeper into what needs to die, right? What needs to die, and what needs to die within us, within you, but also what needs to die like around you. Whether it is a particular behavior, whether it is mindset, whether it is things you need to get rid of in your environment. Is your area cluttered? And so that theme has been really, really heavy, right? And it's heavy in the awareness because some things come up as like a reminder. But this has been all week, back to back to back to back. And so what that says to me is that this release is necessary. It is necessary. It is a call to a massive purge that is needed, right? And so this is like spring cleaning on steroids that is being called. And I'll kind of speak into this time and this year and what I feel responsibly. Some of the visions that I've had as a young girl are coming back around, right? Visions of biblical proportion. And so what has been shown to me, the way the Spirit showed me, I'll share one vision and one dream was in reference to building Noah's Ark. And so it was an instruction for me to build an ark. I took this to be symbolic of the preparation that is needed at this time. But intuitively, I speak to this as this year is significant. It's significant, right? And so in this energetic shift, I'll call it, that we're in, it really speaks to the people, right? It speaks to the people, to each of us individually, but who we are choosing to become, right? It is my belief that we are all being called to answer a call, right? I believe that the time that religious groups, spiritual groups, occult groups, cultural groups have spoken of this time, right? In the Bible, it is it is depicted as the second coming, or the time of resurrection. I mean, of Revelations, but of resurrection, right? That word still applies. The Hopi have their timeline on a rock that ends. The Mayan calendar that is ended. Just many different backgrounds have their version of this story, where time, the old is ending and the new is coming in, whether that is Christ coming back, whether it is that we are becoming the creators. It is my belief that Christ returning, as I've learned it as a child, some of the messages that I have received up until this point, and the understanding, it is my understanding that I share with you. You are free to have your own. It's not a debate that I want to have, but just a sharing and a thought. But that Christ returning, it is not a Christ returning. It is our Christ consciousness, right? It is our divine awareness. It is us. It is us who are awakening, right, to our Christ consciousness, right? As Christ rose, as Yeshua became an ascended master, embodied divinity, it is for us to do the same. And so this, I believe, is significant in this time, and is why we are called to lay to rest, to let die the old versions of us, so that we can connect in with what we are here to be, to become, that we already are, right? It is us awakening to our divine self, our Christ consciousness, our light body, our God frequency, whatever you want to call it. We often use many words to communicate the same understanding. And so I'm not really caught up on words in that way, right? Words are important, but not in what I'm referring to right now. Whatever you know it as, this is what I'm speaking of. Like, it's not the war on words. It is the understanding. It is what I am wanting to communicate, that I'm wanting you to understand. Anywho, back to the death that is needed. And so what must die in you? What must die? Transmute, whether it is to get rid of, whether it is to shift your perception. Maybe you just need to shift it. Maybe it is not, excuse me, y'all, for a thing to completely die, but it is to just transmute it, to shift it a bit, right? Have you been perceiving a particular idea or a particular belief a certain way, and now it's time to shift how we view that thing? Forgiveness is huge right now. I was reminded of of another, I'm not going to say dream because, well, I'll say a vision, right? I get visions while I'm awake, but I also get visions while I'm sleeping, but I also dream while I'm sleeping, right? And so I use these words now. It's important, the word that I'm using, because I want to communicate this vision. Vision for me, whether I'm awake or sleeping, is a communication and not necessarily my dreams are also communication, but I experience them differently. And so I'll depict dream from, like, there's an unconscious aspect to the dream state that is different from vision that I receive. This particular vision that I received was from a passed on loved one, where I got to, where he wanted to communicate to me, to a message that he had for me. And so in this message and this reminder, I got to see into the work that he is currently doing on the other side, right? And it speaks to a shift of perspective that I now have of, like, the question of heaven or hell, and what's true, what is life on the other side, whether you believe in life on the other side, whether we truly die or whether we don't. I hold the belief, again, it's not a debate. It is it's not even my belief. It is my knowing, right, from my experiences to this point, that we do not, that our death from this world is just merely a transition into another form, right? The work continues when we are no longer in this body. And this, for me, has been validated through my mediumship experiences and communicating to passed on loved ones. And so, to me, that is the proof that if I can communicate with someone who is no longer here, then they are not dead, right? In the sense, they are just not in this life form anymore. They are in another form. And so, if you want more on that, I can make another video, but I preface things so that these messages make sense. But this vision that I saw of him was the version of hell, right? And not, it wasn't a fiery hell. It was actually a beautiful place that he was in. It was very beautiful. It was cathedral-like. But what would have the energetics of hell was what he was doing there, what he was having to do there. And so this loved one, I was not physically present when he passed. But what I got to witness, what was part of the message, is him showing me the importance of forgiveness and how important it is to do the work of forgiveness on this side. And so what I got to see was many different versions of him. It was like him replicated many, many times with individual people, doing what I've learned as recapitulation in my shamanic initiation, is what we call recapitulation. And it is the work of one forgiving themselves and going back in time, right? But the things that we hold on to, right? It's a releasing of the things, whether it is bad relation that we have with other people, forgiveness that we haven't done, the regrets, the things in life that we should have done but we didn't. And it's the energetics that we hold on to, right? These energies that we hold on to, whether they're thought forms, whether they have put us in a place of resentment, whether they put us in a place of shoulda, woulda, coulda, whether you're angry at other people because the thing that they did to you 25 years ago, all of that is energy held within your body, right? And it keeps us in a form of not being fully, I don't want to say present. It doesn't allow, it creates energetic ties, energetic bonds to the thing, right? And so in a way, energetically, maybe one has been a high achiever, maybe they have been successful even with those things, right? And so I don't want to say it's kept us stuck, because some people are perceived to have done great things in their life before they pass. But what I will say in witnessing this is that there is an energetic tie, right? So let's say there is someone who did something to me and I have not forgiven it. I have not forgiven myself. I have not forgiven them. What I got to witness was one version, right? And there were many different ones, but let's say I got to see him with another person. He was pleading. I got to see him with another family member. I got to walk up on one of the scenes, and I watched him with this other family member pleading and apologizing and crying. And what I witnessed from this other family member is very much a depiction of what their relationship was before he passed, right? There was a lot of I'll say there was a lack of forgiveness between these two. I'll say that. And their relationship was strained, right? But I got to see the energetics of that strain amongst him, between him and this other person. And so as he's pleading and apologizing, that person having really the same feeling, right? He wasn't trying to hear it. It was just like, nah, I ain't trying to hear you. You know, I'm not trying to hear that. So that was still happening in that interaction. And then what I witnessed was him, I'll say dissolving. It's like he melted. He passes, right? It appeared, okay, I'm gonna say what it appears. It appears that he drops down, and I watch how he passes, right? So, like I said, I wasn't there in this 3D, where he was at when he passed, but you know, we got to know how he passed. But I got to visually see what happened in his passing. And it wasn't as peaceful. It wasn't as peaceful as it I'm not gonna say could have been, because it was what it needed to be. But I'll say and this is my judgment of it, right? I guess it wasn't just like a passing in his sleep. Like it was a very tough. There was people around, and there was it was a challenging transition. That's what I'll say. Sorry, I'm searching for the words, y'all. So in that challenge of transition, I got to see, right, his interaction. He falls into the same way that he transitioned, and then the scene resets, right? And so then there's a passing of time. He does it all over again, and the scene resets the same way. So he passes again, and the scene resets, and he passes again, and the scene resets. I don't know how many times that happened before I witnessed him interacting with that same person. And now this person is a bit softer. They're now crying. So the way that I perceived that vision is that it's like if the energy between them, the resentment was really strong, he's working to lessen that resentment, right? There is an interaction happening between the soul essence of both individuals that has to be worked out. And he's doing that on the other side while this other person is still here, embodied in this 3D world, still alive, you know. And so that was just him with one person. There was many versions of him with many different people doing the same thing, right? To me, was what I perceived as hellish, right? It's sad. It made me sad, right? It made me sad to see, like, man, this is the work that you have to do. Jesus, right? And I call the name. But he showed me that to let me know how important it is to do my forgiveness work. And I have to it's what must happen, right? If you don't do it now, you're not free from it. You have to do it, the work has to be done. And so I was like, wow, this is what we know to be hell. Hell is not, and maybe it is fiery for, I'm not going to say what everyone's experience is. I got to see his particular experience. And maybe another person's version of hell is that, right? Like I'm I can only speak to this vision that I was shown. And, maybe even when I pass my experience, my lessons, I could only speculate that everyone's experience when they go to the other side, I've heard, NDEs or near-death experiences. I've watched many of those where people do life reviews. And so, whatever it is for each individual, you will answer. You will see the truth of the journey, of what your journey was supposed to be. You'll see it all. And you will have to finish your business. You will have to finish it. If you leave unfinished business, you will have to finish it in some form or fashion, some sort of way you're going to finish it. And so, I bring that into this message as the importance of forgiveness in this work, and what must die, and what is needed in this time to truly step into the divine version of you. I believe that's what is coming. I believe that's what is here. That is what is upon us. That is, time is, again, time is a fluid thing. But yes, in this Easter theme, I'll keep it with Easter, just for the sake of, what I know. And so in this death, right, in this forgiveness, in these things that we must shed, it's still beautiful, right? Because in that we get to resurrect, right? Or we get to reclaim. It is a reclamation. It is the reclamation of the divine being that you are, right? You get to take a step in the right direction, right? And I use air quotes around it because, I still am a believer of sovereignty and sovereign choice. And for some people, they are not going to choose to let go, right? For whatever reason, whether it's the difficulty, the challenge in it, whether they're unaware of it, whatever the case may be, it's a call to let go. It's a call to, to detach from the things that don't serve us. And so I am definitely an advocate for us to be able to choose, right? If we want to choose light, if we want to choose dark, if we want to choose to let go and evolve, if we want to choose to hold on and ride the wheel 17 more times and stay right where you're at, or, I believe it's all beautiful. I believe it's all learning, right? Some of us choose like, I don't, one time is enough. And I want to see something new and something different and something that's not as painful. And, that there's the beauty in all of it. And so, ultimately, I believe that we all should choose. And so the call is, though, for those who want to step into this newness, to experience, right? We are creating this new, I'll say this new world, right? We get to step into the best versions of ourselves, right? We get to choose that. And so if you're being called, right? If you are feeling a challenge in your reality, in your mindset, right? If it's feeling challenging right now, right? Or if things are breaking down, if you're in, right, the one in the victim mindset is going to be in the woe is me. Like your car is breaking down, money's you're losing money. What am I saying? You're losing money. Your washing machine broke. Friendships or, relationships are going haywire. You got to move. You lost your job. You're right. These forms, and this is not to downplay the challenge that they can be, right? It can be painful. It can be that 10 things are breaking down all at once. One who is in the victim mindset is like, oh my God, all of these things are happening to me, right? There's a beauty. There's also on the flip side a beauty in these things, and right. And it can be easier said than done, right? And, if you are in a challenging time right now, my heart goes to you. I'm not saying that it's easy, right? But the beauty the communication, what is being shown to you, is to oftentimes you've had a gentle nudge, you've had a gentle reminder to let go, right? Oftentimes when our world has become very dramatic, when you're losing shit that is major in your life, when it is a full, like your life is falling apart, I would go to say that for most people, unless you are being called to shift in a very dramatic way, and your life needs to break all the way down instantaneously to make the shift that you're being, those are very few people that are being called to shift that dramatically. For most of us, we've had the nudge, we've had the signs to let go of the thing. And we're days, weeks, years past letting go. We should have been let go, right? And so now it's dramatic. It's usually what is happening to most of us. So, anywho, I say all that to say there's a beauty in this breakdown, right? If you can see it, right? And this is where the reclamation of our power, right? We are the creators of our reality, whether we know it or not, right? And so whether you believe that or not, whether you are calling on a higher power, it's time to do that, right? Whatever you believe in, if you believe that you're the creator, if you believe that there is, and I don't say like you are the Almighty, you are the source, right? You are a fractal of source, right? You are, and this is my belief again, it's beautiful that everyone has their own, right? I'm not going to debate with nobody about it, but I believe that we are all made in the image of the oneness, right? And therefore, because we are in the image of the oneness, we also have the power of the oneness. It is for us to know that we have sovereignty and we have choice and we can create our reality, right? What are we creating? Right? Many of us are in lack mindset. And I say this and I speak on myself, right? I'm also on the journey. I'm not perfect. I'm not speaking as if I've arrived somewhere, right? Because I got to remind myself very often, girl, get up and cut it out. I'm being a victim right now. I am not a victim, right? And so then I say, all right, Spirit, show me where I'm supposed to be. I'm calling in help. Where's help at? Show me what is it that I'm supposed to be doing right now? What is it that I'm being called to do for myself? What am I called to do for my children? What am I called to do for the people? Where the car is broken down, where's the abundance, right? So show me where I need to go to create abundance. Show me what is supposed to be happening, right? So whether you're asking the universe, whether you're asking God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whether you believe that you're creating everything, go to that place. That's what I'm saying. Go to that. That is where we're being called to be at. We are called to be in the space of calling in whatever it is that makes us, that is the best version of us, right? And so releasing the breakdown means there's space for something new. Call that in, right? Call your power back. Call in the newness. Matter of fact, I ask, Spirit, show me what needs to go. Some things I'm already aware of. But I often will say, Spirit, show me what I do not see. Show me what I'm holding on to. I can see because I'm in a pattern right now. I'm in a repeating pattern, which means I'm not seeing something. I'm missing something. Bring to my awareness what I need to see. Right? We're not supposed to be on this loop. We're not supposed to be repeating things, right? We're supposed to be in a spiral. We're going around, but we should be moving as we're going around, not on the merry-go-round. So if you're on the merry-go-round, ask, what is it that I need to release? Some of these things may be big, y'all. They may be big. They may be people, significant people. It may be a house. It may be thousands, millions of dollars worth of a business deal. It may be that you're called to throw out half the things that you own. It may be that you're supposed to walk away from this job. It may be that you're supposed to let go of this thought process that you've been holding on to. The forgiveness of the people who've done that thing happened 5, 10, a year ago. It happened yesterday. It happened 30 years ago, right? Forgiveness is for us to let go of the invisible energetic threads that hold us bound to physical things, physical people, right? So I've been talking for a long time, y'all, and I think we got it. I think I got it. I think y'all got it, right? And so lastly, I wanted to share with y'all, if you're like, what needs to die, right? I'm gonna get my Sybil. This is my Oracle deck, but it has some questions to consider that I want to leave with y'all, right? And this can be work to do at this time. Answer these questions, and then as you answer these questions, I want you to call in what you can't see. Just the awareness of answering these questions can release some energy, right? As I answer reflective questions for those of you who don't do reflective work, it's this thought of what they say in AA, awareness is the first step. Admitting awareness is the first step. So sometimes when you say stuff out loud or you write it down, you like, oh man, yes, I have been holding on to that, right? And so I want to gift this to you all to release some energy, to make room for reclaiming your power, to reclaim abundance, to reclaim the light body, the God consciousness that's in you, right? And leave in the comments, y'all. Leave in the comments either things that, if you want to share, things that you're releasing right now, but also if you work through this and you lighten your load a bit, what's come in for you after releasing, right? So, all right, I'm getting on with it. So this is the death card, and questions that you can ask yourself. 1, are you focused on how much more you could have received instead of how much you've already received? 2, do you believe that you can lose what is truly yours? 3, has not making peace with your mistakes prevented the best of the experiences from shining through? 4, what did you learn from them? And how can your wisdom practically benefit others? 5, What would you want others to feel and learn from your interaction with them if you were the one who died or otherwise had to move on? And last question, are there fears related to an ending that you're experiencing that have nothing to do with the actual person, place, or thing? Right? So I know only a couple of those questions. I kind of answered some of those in my head. There are a couple that I got to work through, right? And so maybe all of them apply. Work through all of them. Maybe work through one or two of them. Whatever applies for you. But I just wanted to give that to you in this season right now, as we've entered spring and as we're going into this year. The energy is only picking up, right? And so if you truly believe that you are the creator of your reality, you're only creating more of what you consciously, but also unconsciously believe. So it would behoove you to get real clear about what you believe to be true, right? Consciously, but also becoming conscious of what you believe unconsciously, because it's not enough to just consciously throw our wishes and our intentions out here when the unconscious belief contradicts what we say out of our mouth, what we want to be true, right? Sometimes we want stuff to be true, but unconsciously we don't believe it. So that's work, y'all. That's also something that you got to get rid of, because as this energy moves up, as energy speeds up, perceived speeds up, right? Yeah. You're going to be creating more of what you believe. If you want abundance, but you believe you can't have it, you're going to be creating more of lack, no matter how much you want it, right? And that's just an example. You can fill in the blanks on both sides. What you want from what you actually believe has to align, right? And if it doesn't, that's the work. That's what needs to die, right? If your 3D reality is not what you want it to be, you created it. What beliefs do you hold that create the 3D reality that you're experiencing right now? And what is it that you need to let go of so that it can shift and it can be something different, right? So this is the work, right? This is the constant work that we're doing. But there is been a highlight at this time. I say again, and in some, I'm going to leave it here in this time. It's significant. It is very significant for this work to be done right now, right? Easter Day 2026. This is the date I'm speaking from. So I love y'all. That is what I wanted to share this rising. And I love y'all. And I will say too, for those of you, if you've made it this far, goodness, if you need assistance with clearing some of this energy, right? My sessions are open. I am a holistic energy healing practitioner, right? So I assist with one, clearing their energy, right? Clearing it, reclaiming lost soul parts, right? Whether you're reclaiming lost soul parts, whether you are wanting a destiny retrieval, right? Meaning you want to, you have no clue of what you should be doing right now. There's it's called a destiny retrieval that can be done. Whether you just need some chakra clearing, some energetic clearing, I can assist with any of those things. And so book a session if you want to know more before you book a session, or if you even want to book a session, what is it that I do? What is it? This is what's going on. How can I help? Before you decide that you may want to work with me, book a consultation. I would love to talk to you, even if you don't book a session. And if not, until the next reading or channeling or whatever it is that I share next, check out the channel. Thank you. I love y'all, and I'm out. Peace.